Oh. Hello world. I moved to Texas about a month ago. In this race, the Hotter Than Hell 100, it was hyped up by all the locals, so I was super excited for it, and overall it turned out to be a great weekend. On Friday evening, the Pro 1-2s had their first of two Criterium races that I would have loved to watch. Unfortunately, the race is about a 6-hour drive from my apartment, and I still had to go to work in the morning. The drive to the race was long, but it was absolutely beautiful. There was lots of really nice Texas scenery. It's amazing to see what God created and what He is capable of. It just left me in awe. After a 6-hour drive, I arrived at First Christian Church in Wichita Falls, Texas, which is where I spent the night before the race. The church was really kind, and they offered sleeping accommodations and food to myself and anybody else riding in the Hotter Than Hell. And that's significant because there are roughly 15,000 cyclists that show up from all over the country. Because of the distance and typical heat associated with this event, the start time and morning of the event come excruciatingly early. I found some of the history related to this event very interesting. For example, the Hotter Than Hell ride originated from an idea by the local Wichita Falls Bike Club to cycle 100 miles in 100 degrees of heat in order to celebrate 100 years of history. Also, another interesting piece of history, the Camelback Hydration Pack originated from Hotter Than Hell 100. Right here, I'm on my way to the start line of the Cat 3 race, and I got to see all of the cyclists lined up for the recreational 100-mile ride, which is what a majority of the people come for, specifically nearly 15,000 cyclists. And I'm told that it takes nearly an hour for everybody to simply cross the start line after the starting cannon is fired. Before the race started, I knew that I was going to keep my eye on this MSU kid. I was talking to him beforehand, and I learned that he was extremely close to getting his Cat 2 upgrade. I also knew that MSU is a very good cycling school, and that they had a number of other cyclists in the Pro 1-2 race. As this race started out, it was extremely slow for the first 5 to 10 miles. I think we were riding around 100-150 watts and going around 15 to 17 miles per hour. But after these painfully slow miles, the pace finally started to pick up, and there were a few attacks, but nothing was really sticking. I sort of just sat in and let other people pull in the attacks and do all the work. But the whole time I was keeping my eye on this MSU kid because I had a feeling that he was very strong and that he was a good one to follow should a breakaway actually materialize. Eventually, there was this move by 1, 2, 3 riders. The MSU kid jumps on, so I decided to bust my butt and bridge onto it. At first, we weren't really certain whether this break was going to work, so we were just kind of hemming and hawing and not really working together. But then you can see here some of the riders start looking back, see where the peloton is, and notice that they're pretty far back there. So at that point, we all agreed to work together to get this breakaway to stick. At this point, we are only 10 or 12 miles into a 102-mile bike race, so I'm not really sure what I was thinking, getting myself into a breakaway with 90 miles left to the bike race. I definitely wasn't thinking about the pain that was going to be in my legs. But hey, if you want to win a race, you have to take a chance. So we were off. We quickly put around 30 seconds between ourselves and the pack, and at one point we actually increased the gap to just under 2 minutes. We seemed to be working well together. We were taking 1 to 2 minute pulls apiece, and that seemed to be working well for us. It actually wasn't very long though until we dropped one of the guys, so there were only 4 of us left. At one point, we decided to get into a quick rotation with 15-second pulls apiece to try to put some more distance between us and the peloton, and I think it actually did more harm than good because it was extremely painful and it didn't actually gain us any substantial time on the pack. Unfortunately, with about 20 miles or so left in the race, our breakaway was caught. From then on, the remainder of the race, it was at a pretty easy pace. We averaged roughly 20 miles per hour or so, whereas in the breakaway, myself and those other couple of guys, we were averaging between 25 to 26 miles per hour. So with only a few miles left in the race, we were once again one big happy family. Only myself and one other dude who was in the breakaway with me decided to race until the end. The other guys decided to pull themselves because they were just so exhausted and totally beat. But I decided to tough it out the last couple miles despite my certain dehydration and the terrible leg cramps that I was getting. And I ended up placing 15th out of approximately 40 riders. My bike misshifted when I was preparing for the final sprint, so I wasn't even in contention for the win. And that was pretty upsetting, but overall, I was pleased with my race. This was actually my first Cat 3 road race, and I was extremely hopeful that the breakaway was going to be successful because that would have made for such an outstanding result. However, it did not work like that, and I guess that's just going to happen sometimes. The next morning, the Criterium was extremely disappointing. I ate a solid lunch and dinner right after the road race on Saturday, so I was feeling decent, and I thought I was going to be able to produce a respectable result in the Criterium. However, on the first lap of the race, on the first corner that we took at any substantial speed, I felt something really uncanny in my bike. The front end didn't feel stiff whatsoever, and I felt like the bike was just going to slide out and crumple under me. It was just an awful feeling, so I ended up pulling myself out of the race. The officials looked over my bike, we couldn't find anything wrong with it, so they were kind enough to let me re-enter the race. However, as soon as I hit another corner with any speed, I had that awful feeling and I pulled myself from the race for good. I think this was the right decision because if something was seriously wrong with my bike, such as a cracked fork, I could have caused a crash and it would have been a horrible experience for myself and a number of other riders. But overall, it was a very enjoyable weekend, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to attend such a vastly popular cycling event right here in Texas. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any comments, suggestions, or thoughts. I would be happy to hear them.